seeing Bond at the start of this sequence driving with Madeline in the DB5.
Why would I betray you?
We all have our secrets.
Instantly, it's just an iconic shot.
Just didn't get to yours yet.
This time, the relationship between Bond and Madeline is much more developed.
The story is more emotionally driven than it is action-driven.
Vesper Lind is buried in Matera, and Madeline has guided Bond there, and Madeline, I think, feels like he should forgive her. The trouble is, somebody's watching them.
We are famed for having the best opening sequences for any franchise.
For me, this sequence is one of the big sequences that makes you feel, okay, I'm in a James Bond movie.
You've got many things that really make it appealing. First of all, you've got the beautiful location.
Matera, Italy, which is one of the oldest cities in the world.
Then throw into the equation the car, the fantastic, legendary DB5.
It gets people's juices going because of the gadgets it has, and we use them all.
Cary wanted it to be gritty, but he didn't want it to be over the top.
So when we originally scouted it and Cary basically signed off, loved the city, it fit story-wise for us as well. Then we had to go about how we're going to break it down, how we're going to achieve a high-speed chase.
And sort of one of the main problems with Matera is which bit do you shoot it in? We were looking at going up steps, down steps. It was finding the actual right combination of streets to do it in.
It was very challenging to find a way to still keep the speed up.
It was constantly evolving, even up to when we shot it, which was probably 6 months later. We were still evolving the sequence.
Is it the way you're going to film it? Is it just the stunt itself? Is it the way we want to have the actor doing it all the time? And then how we're going to do that to make it safe? Action!
Olivier Schneider and I had long conversations about the fighting style to make it fit the character. There's a brutal simplicity to it now that's just come with age.
And all the time you try to put the line as far as you can because you don't want the audience to be disappointed.
The action comes out of a fight or die situation. I think therefore the action itself becomes more exciting because you actually care about the characters.
There's a motorbike chase right at the beginning, all in the incredible backdrop of Matera.
The moment where Bond jumps the motorcycle, it's a big moment actually because it was very last minute.
Lee and I, even Daniel, we were thinking like, we missed something here. We need a Bond moment.
That idea didn't come about 8 months earlier when you typically would do that and plan out all the dangers. That came about probably 4 weeks before we pulled off the stunt.
And we wanted to build a ramp that looked like it should be there in place. It looks like a wall. So to look like a wall, it had to be really steep at 65 degrees.
This is a section where we see Bond travelling at high speed on the motorcycle he's taken from Primo. You see the structure we've had to put in place because we had to make sure the ramp would take the loadings. This section where it's critical, John's now working on the ramp. As far as just past where George is now coming down, he's committed at that point. There's no going back.
Just do speed runs for now, Paul. All right, yeah, really good. I think just with the drive you've got coming in, let's do 2, 3 more. Yeah. And then you're ready to go. Stunt rider Paul Edmondson, who doubled Bond, one of the best riders in the world, 4 times world champion. Technically, no problem whatsoever. But then come the day of actual rehearsals and when you actually get to the bottom of the ramp, both of us were having a little look at each other. Okay, let's do another. We both knew that you had to hit it at a certain speed. So it was full commitment. Because when you're jumping a motorcycle up a ramp that steep and covering 35, 40 feet, but you're going up almost vertically, you become almost like a sail. You're not going forward through the air, you're going up, and so the wind can catch you. And unfortunately, the day of shooting, it was going the wrong direction. So it was blowing off to the area where we were going to land. Everybody waiting, everybody's getting tense, everybody's ready to go to roll cameras, but the wind's too strong.
Yeah, you know, it's one of those, you've got to commit, but at the same time treat it with respect and think about what you're doing. So when you put all that together, that's when it becomes interesting.
To see him go over the first time was a massive relief.
It's not VFX, it's real. They did it. You need guys of that caliber to achieve things like that in the time you do it.
In this garage at the moment, we've got all the action vehicles that you would have seen up till now. Behind me, we've got 10 Aston Martin DB5s.
We had 2 what we call hero cars, which are original DB5s.
This is the car that Sean Connery first appeared with. Yeah, this is the car that always appears, that is synonymous with 007. This has always been the car that Daniel does the pull-ups and the pull-aways from. Now, these 2 cars, to the eye, are identical to the first 2, but these are actually stunt replica cars that's all kitted out.
My job is quite a cool one. I get the chance to drive the DB5 as James Bond. We go into some very sort of high-speed roads, as high as they can be for these type of roads. We've had a big challenge with the surface. It's very, very slippery. And in fact, we've actually used Cola on the surface to give us some grip back, which works really well. So it's built to do what we want it to do. It's a beautiful handling car. It's a pleasure to drive, and it's a very special little toy.
There's a particularly fast stretch of road running alongside the valley in Matera, and in that spot, the DB5 could really open up.
DB5's travelling at speed. We was at speeds at 100 plus sometimes along the Gorge Road. And the good thing about Mark is the faster the speeds go, the better he gets.
The DB5 I'm in now, it's been built from the ground up with competition suspension. It's got about 340 horsepower.
So these 2 cars, these are the stunt gadget cars, and these are the ones that you'll see in the film where all the gadgets are exposed.
We obviously saw the guns working in Skyfall, and then the car itself gets destroyed. Spectre gets rebuilt, but we don't know what's inside it. We kind of had carte blanche to sort of reimagine what's in the car and what it could do, and to try to do it tastefully, obviously. We wanted it to fit within the narrative and the emotional story we're telling at the beginning of the film, but also, have a little bit of fun with it, too.
We refer to this as Donut Square. It's San Giovanni Battista. It's where Bond gets cornered. This is going to be a noisy moment.
Action, fire!
After they've emptied their clips, James Bond says, right, now it's my turn. We put something like 500-600 pyrotechnic squibs on these 400- or 500-year-old churches.
In some cases, we've been able to make some pre-rigged panels so they look exactly like the stonework. This is a very ancient church, and we can't damage it at all. This is one of the panels we've made in the UK, wedged into position. It's actually foam, and in here we've got a small explosive charge which will give us a hole roughly this size. Virtually everything has got an explosive charge on it.
Cars in the street over there, newsstand, steps, and they fit. Great.
This is artificial stone. It's a mixture of foam and insulation particles. It's very soft, but it looks like stone when it explodes, but you can stand next to this and it won't hurt. This is our circular striker. Each of these switches will operate a sequencer. So as the car spins round, it'll activate those switches, which will then operate an automatic firing box. So it means that we can always be in sync with the position of the car.
We're putting hits along the wall here, and they go all around the square. You see, it's 360 degrees of carnage. The great thing about this shot is Daniel actually did the donut himself. He floored it, put it into a donut, and did a complete 360.
Does everything that Bond's DB5 should do. We do it and more.
It was fun. It was really fun. Spinning around. I would do it again.
With Daniel doing the car work and having the confidence of Lee Morrison there to sort of guide him through it, Having Chris Corbold, who's a magician with the special effects, having complete trust that everyone is safe, everyone's going to do something and walk away from it, but it's also going to look spectacular.
It's really important to get the action just right so it becomes believable. And what we're doing here, it is a little scrappy, it is aggressive, and it is for real.
Hopefully it'll be another Bond iconic moment.
Doing stunts for real is always going to feel that much more exciting. Everyone ups each other's game, just keeps building up to have these amazing scenes.
There's some powerful, powerful moments in this film. Alongside all the action, it was quite exhilarating.
Matera is, in the last 20 years, probably the most challenging city I've ever worked in.
To have all these masterminds come together to help us bring this to life, that is the sort of the dream come true part of making a movie this big.
It's a satisfying emotional journey for an audience if they're invested in the characters, and that hopefully makes it fascinating to watch.